Madam President, we are here in the second week of the 119th Congress with enormous work to do. We have a border to secure, we have streets to make safe, we have an economy to resurrect, we have, in short, a great nation to rebuild. And nothing could be more central to that rebuilding than the strengthening of the American family. And nothing could be more urgent for our future than the revival of the American working class. And those two things, Madam President, go precisely together. The truth is, we have been living these last 40 years or so in the great American decline. Our economy has declined. We were once the manufacturing and trade capital of the world. Everybody wanted to trade with us. We were the envy of the world in every possible way and economically. That's not true any longer. Now we are a debtor nation. Our standing in the world has declined. We were the leader of the free nations not so long ago. Now the nations of the world rush to court China and regard the United States as yesterday's news. Our cities have declined. They're not safe. Our health has declined. Our hope for the future has eroded. And all the while, this town has plowed ahead with the failed policies of the last 40 years. This town has assured us that everything is fine. We only need to spend a little bit more, issue a little bit more debt, give our giant corporations a few more tax breaks, maybe get involved in another foreign war or two. This town has pursued the projects of the governing class and neglected the weightier matters, the well-being of our families and of our working people. And Madam President, let's be honest, my party, the Republican Party, has too often in these years been part of the problem. The Republican Party has too often spoken up for corporate interests rather than for the interests of families. The Republican Party has too often cooperated with a corporate agenda rather than an agenda to empower workers. We need a change in this town. We need a change in this Congress. We need a change in this party. And that is the opportunity that we have in the moment before us. Because I submit to you, Madam President, the fact is this: you can measure the strength of a nation in the strength of its families. And you can study the struggles of a nation in the struggles of its working people. And right now, our families and our working people in this country are struggling. There was a time not so long ago in this country when a man who got a high school degree and then got a job and then worked at it decidedly and learned a skill and worked hard and saved, where he would be able to provide for a family, start a family, get married, provide for kids, have a future, have something to look forward to. That's just not true anymore. Those days, in fact, are long since gone. During the last 40 years, real wages for working people have flatlined. And during the last 4 years, real wages for working people have declined. Here's just one measure of that. The Bureau of Economic Analysis reports that disposable income, that's income after taxes, fell almost 10% during Joe Biden's presidency. And that was, I might emphasize, for all earners. That drop was even higher, more steep, and more devastating for America's working people and for America's working families. The fact of the matter is, there's no such thing as a family wage any longer, not in this economy. Now parents have to work multiple jobs to support just one or two kids if they can afford to have children at all. I mean, let's just think, in the 1960s, the average family had just shy of 4 children. Today, that number has fallen by more than half. And here's the really interesting thing. Families today tell researchers they would like to have more children. To be specific, more than half, approaching 60% of American families tell researchers that they would like to have more kids, but they don't. Why not? Because they can't afford it. And that's all families. The numbers are higher, once again, for working class families. Here's what I would say. There is something fundamentally wrong with an economy where the working people who power that economy cannot afford to have children that they want. There's something fundamentally wrong with an economy when the working people who are the strength and source of all of its might cannot provide for the children they have with the labor of their own hands. But Madam President, that is our reality. That is where we are today, and it is time to do something about it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into an urgent topic. Senator Josh Hawley's vision to rebuild America by focusing on working families. If you felt the squeeze of rising costs, this one's for you. Hit subscribe and ring the bell for updates. Let's jump in. Senator Josh Hawley kicked off his recent speech by painting a stark picture of where America stands. He says we're living through what he calls the Great American Decline. Over the last 40 years, our economy has taken a hit. Real wages have stagnated. Hawley isn't just pointing fingers, he's calling for action. Rebuilding America starts with strengthening our families and working people. Here's where it gets interesting. Hawley isn't just taking aim at Democrats, he's also calling out his own party. He says both parties have failed working families by prioritizing corporate interests. Think about it. How often do we hear politicians talk about families and workers, only to see tax breaks go to the wealthiest corporations? Hawley's speech challenges Congress to refocus on what really matters, the well-being of you and your family. So what's his big solution? Hawley is proposing a massive expansion of the child tax credit. Right now, families can claim up to $2,000 per child. Hawley wants to more than double that to $5,000 per child. Allow families to apply the credit to payroll taxes, distribute the credit in monthly installments, make it available to expecting parents. It's about giving families the tools to thrive. Hawley frames this proposal as a moral imperative. He says the strength of our nation is tied to the strength of our families. When families struggle, the nation struggles. This is not social assistance. It's a tax cut for those who work and pay taxes. He calls for tax policy that prioritizes family needs. Think this is overdue? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. Hawley's speech is a wake-up call. America's families and workers deserve better. The conversation about rebuilding this nation starts here. Like, share, and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.